Hari ini kita akan continue dengan chapter 6, right? But before that, ada few things yang I akan cakap dengan you lah. Right. Okay, again, Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi. Alright, saya agak semua dah ada lagi baru join in. Tak apa. For those yang baru join in, and for those yang baru join in, macam biasa, your attendance, if you don't have time, belum sempat nak scan, you can scan it later. Or for those who cannot scan because of certain technical issue, just forward your name and your metric number. So can I do it manually? Okay, I will stop this attendance. Kita hari ni, alright. Okay, boleh dengar lah suara? Boleh dengar lah? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes or no? Boleh lah, okay, right. Right. Okay, in fact, today before we can start our new chapter 6, there are things that I want to, it's not information, it's regarding, because I received quite a numbers of what we call query asking me about your assignment, the first assignment, right? Okay, very much quite a numbers of this group when they ask me is on the part of discussion, right? That is the main part, right? Out of 5 components, right? From 1 to 5, if I'm not wrong, discussion is part 3. And that is a part that a lot of questions, right, that be forwarded to me individually. And so as you can see, right, I already remind you again and again, right, when you have questions, right, when we have a meeting, right, I ask you to ask question, okay, regarding your assignment. So I assume that everything is now, you have already not more than 2 weeks, right, for your submissions. And I still receive quite numbers of questions regarding the assignment. Some of you are not very clear with a certain part of what you're supposed to do, and very much what I receive is talking about you're not clear on the part 3. We are under discussion. What are you going to write for that part, right? So that's worry me. That worry me because I said you have only 2 weeks left, right? But still until now you are not clear what to write on that part on 3.0 or part 3. I'm quite worried on that. So tak apa, today I will explain you again, right? Actually what the content, what the thing that you must write, right, in part 3. Okay, so I will share you first this the outlines, what you're supposed to do for your assignment, your first assignment, right? Okay, kita ulang lagi, right? Kita review lagi, kita recap balik apa yang what is supposed to do. Okay, group assignment, the first assignment is a group assignment that carry 20 blood, quite high, 20% is very significant of your marks later on, right? For your assessment. Okay, each group consists of 4 to 5 students. Is okay, this clear, done with that, right? Now, your group is required to identify any local ethical issue. Local ethical issue doesn't mean, as I said, on our subject matter, when you're talking about ethics, when I said local issue doesn't mean that we don't find any of this issue in other places, right? For example, talking about corruption all over the world, right? All nations facing the same issue. So no problem, right? No, doesn't mean that find an issue that not applicable on what we call is other nation. Semua you can find any ethical issue actually is what we call it's a global issue. It's a global issue, right? So even though here I said No, you are asked to find a local issue. The word local doesn't mean it doesn't appear in other country. That's why did help you a lot in writing, because the material that you can get is not everywhere. Not necessarily the material is based on in Malaysia, so you can get any materials. Meaning that there are a lot of things that have been written on that issue. eh. Banyak dah dalam journals. People have written so on that particular that issue yang the ethical issue that you pick, right? The issue you choose. So that's not supposed to be any problem on that. Okay, now we go one by one. Okay, or we have 5 parts of this. The paper should have the following section. As executive summary, I already explained to you. This is as what we call an abstract. Abstract meaning that this is, even though in the first part, number 1, actually this is the last thing that you have to write. Okay, this is the last thing that you have to write. You should done all number 1, number 2, and number 5. Only then you can write number 1, right? For example, you buka article. When you read article, the first thing you will see is the abstract, right? Not so it's similarly here, right? The first thing I can buka, nanti on your paper when you submit the thing, I will see the executive summary. But you can only write the executive summary when you've done all part 2, part 3, part 4 until the last part 5. Only then you can write the executive summary. The second one is issue summary, case issue summary, 1 page. This is about the topic that you choose, right? The case study that the topic that you choose. So you have to write something just about 1 page of that. Jangan banyak lah. It's about the issue. Right? For example, you pick, for example, job discrimination. So you just write about job discrimination, right? About 1 page of that. All right. Then this is the part that usually I receive the question about this part on the discussion. And as I said, until recently, and 2 days back, I still receive this question: how to write this on this discussion. What the thing that I wanted from this part on discussion. So that's why I say I don't want to discuss it individually. I don't want to explain individually. I will explain to all of you. Right. That's why I said it's important during the meeting that you ask the question. Ini selalu normal. Sometimes I don't know. Kalau online learning, this is the thing. You wait until maybe the last minute. You want to ask question, you will send it directly, personally. No, that's not going to help you a lot. The thing is, kita discuss as a group in a class. Everybody know. Everybody listen and get what actually. The other one have to explain every group of this. Each group call me, okay, asking the same question. Then I explain. Then another group come call me, ask me to explain. So this not good. This is not the way we do it, that right? I think dalam online kita lalunya kita akan discuss. Lalu masa meeting pun kita akan face to face, but akan explain dalam kelas, So everybody will listen and understand what actually. Cuma group jumpa saya on the final things. Jadi kalau dalam normally group jumpa saya, see me at the end of the class, or they come to my room asking me about the final points. So okay, now kita go against what is on this part, on discussion part. Here they said pages around 16 to 11 to, I think now because this is the reason why there are a lot of pages you have to write. That's why you are not, it's a bit a challenge to you, right? When you are not very clear what actually you want to write. Right. You are required to analyze the ethical issue. First, analyze. The word analyze is how you want to analyze. This is the thing. You can only analyze when you read. There are data with you. There are material with you. You kena baca lah. From which part that yang dia from whom? Which part of the analyze From what materials, and that's the word, from what material that you want to read, to analyze, meaning that you cannot run away to find people that have done the studies on that, on the issue, on the topic that you choose. Meaning that you have to go to the journals, right? You have to find a journal that that studies on the same issue, the same topics. And this is the thing that you have to do. Only then you can analyze all the past study, right? Analyze the study that have been done on that. Meaning that you have to write a literature review. Ini yang you kena buat. You have to write in a literature review. So usually kalau dulu, dulu face to face already, but this is collective punya standard where they reset. This is the way what we call the outline should be this way. But normally is we are left to individual lecturer to decide how the outline will be. So I'll be very strictly, right, or identified. The first thing that you have to find out, you have to get it from what we call journals. I already mentioned the number of journal that you have to read, 5, 6, right? And the journal must be more than 5 years old, that kind of thing, because we're going to get at least the latest information regarding the topics. So this is the thing that you have to do for this part. Go and read the journal. Only then you can analyze. Go find articles, journal. There are a lot of journals. You're talking about ethical journals. There are a lot of ethical journals. So go and find. Okay. And this here, student needs to find appropriate ethical theories. That will help you a lot bila you baca journal, because in their study they already mentioned, they also will mention what is the concept, the theory that apply in their studies, right? So that is will help you a lot by reading the journal, and at the same time you will get some kind of idea what is the concept, the theory. The only difference maybe you in your writing you want to add more concept, right? You can add instead of just follow the same concept that have been described in the journal. There are things that maybe you want to add on your concept or theory. Okay, this is the things that I will expect, that I want to see, that you'll be able to add few concept, the new concept that relevant to the topics. Kita ambil example, a case study on I love that case study on what they call on river blindness punya case study, right? The concept, the clear concept, or the 4 main concept from utilitarian concepts, right concept, justice concept, and caring. For that case study, the main issue, the main concept that apply on that case study is definitely caring, right? But definitely, right, there are also other concepts that we can apply. They are right, the concept of right, positive right, asking people to help you. They have the right of getting medical benefits, right? These people, those facing the river blindness disease. So we have the justice, right? Yeah, fair enough, right? They want to get justice and go and help them. So definitely we as CSR punya concept, right? So all these concepts that should be applied, can be applied in your writing. So your journal study, they will help you a lot. I mean, you read the journal, you read the what we call the studies, they will show to you, right? In this article, they'll tell you the concept and everything. And on top of what have been described in the journal, you can add what we call theory or concepts regarding your on the issue. So this is part 3, and that you have to write. Okay. Student need to find a ethical theory concept. Learn to link with the ethical issue you have selected. Of course, the concept is you have to link to the topics that you select, right? So I don't think much problem on that. Okay. What I can see, because you don't really know where to get these materials. So I think for semester 5 and above, students, they should know, right? Material should come from, very much should come from, but because from the articles, right? And that article, very much, the simpler thing is go for the journals, right? For this, for your punya ni, I tak letak lah. I don't put, at least 5 years punya, not more than 5 years punya journal. It's open up. I open it, the journals, but it's best. You can guess. It's better if you can get the material from, from not later than 5 years old punya journal. I mean the latest information, the latest studies. So this is how you write. Okay, on this part, any question on discussion? Are you clear, really, what you have to write on this part? 11 to 18, 16 pages. Minimum, I said all minimum, it will be around 20 pages. So the big chunk will come from this part of your writing. So meaning that when you write, you take the material, meaning there will be a literature review, meaning there are citation, meaning that you should apply what the format, we're talking about APA format, that kind of thing, right? You should know the techniques, right? Meaning that definitely there will be a literature review. There will be citation and that kind of thing. So focus on that. Right? Focus also on the techniques of writing and the format that apply during your writings. That is the very much that I will look into. Because we already identified what the format you must apply, that kind of thing, So there must definitely citation, there must be definitely the references, that kind. So use the right format, that kind of thing, meaning that you won't lose much point on that parts, on formatting especially. So we expect you to get all, almost full mark on format. So don't forget about turn-ins, similarities, 20% here. But as I mentioned to you earlier, that I will even accept up to 30%. Right here, turn-in, under 20%. So for your case, right, I allow until even to up to 30% on similarities, But these are prerequisites. So you have to get it to go for it, and you have to submit your report on some turn-in reports when you submit your assignment. Okay, then this is very serious matter. Kalau betul-betul, kalau setengah universiti, setengah suti, depend on lecturers. If more than 30%, as I said, I give you some advantage, another 10%. So I can take that sebagai, if the report show that is more than 30%, meaning you will get 0. I don't have to marks, I fikir dah. Some lecturers will up to that level, right? When you say 20%, so report is more than 20%, meaning that you get 0 for your assignment. Because plagiarism is, of course, it's very serious matter, right? What more dalam kita punya subject, ethics, have to do with ethics. So you have to be careful on this, right? Okay, I think I've done all this. If you have any still not very clear, ask now. Ask now, please. You have, as I said, ada 2 minggu saja lagi. You can make some correction. If you have made a mistake, then you can still have time to make the correction.
Doctor, can you hear me, Doctor?
Kuat sikit.
Boleh dengar tak?
Kuat sikit. Boleh dengar tapi kurang kuat. Volume. Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
I nak tanya, yang itu kan under 30 ke? 30%?
Actually, sebenarnya 20% lah kalau kita tengok dalam sini kan. You dah nampak tak I punya ni?
Nampak. Sebab I
Kalau
kurang kelas.
it is
Tak
standard,
dengar.
it is standard. It's not just class you. It apply to all classes 20%. And kalau PhD pun kita buat, master pun technical writing not more than 20%. So only for this class, for your class and kelas-kelas yang duduk bawah saya, I give extra points lah. I extra what, because no point. And sedikit kelonggaran, extra 10%. Meaning that if your similarity masih lagi bawah 30%, I can accept that lah. Kata 25, but if more than 30%, then you are in trouble.
Okay, Doktor. Terima kasih.
Clear?
Clear.
Okay, don't forget, guys, all the groups, when you submit the thing, you must submit together with your report, turn-in report. How to get that turn-in record, jangan tanya saya lah, kan? Satu, you can check with the library, they have that application, that the software to 14-inch punya purpose. And if I'm not wrong, dalam you punya Google, you can Google the thing, you can find. And whether you have to pay or not, I'm not sure about that. But tapi I dengar dulu student I buat, dia tak bayar pun. Alright, ada soalan? So kalau tak ada, from today sampai ni, I don't want to see any question on that. No one, please don't send any question about this assignment. I won't entertain you lah, because as I said, ID ni ada last untuk you nak tanya, you nak dia, ask now. Right. So kalau memang tak ada, tak apa. I assume that everything clear, you are in the right track, you know what to do. But yang I worry nanti yang punya citations lah on your what we call. You want to understand. I hope that you do understand what means citation. This will result on your turn in nanti lah, and meaning if you cut and paste, meaning that definitely lah, the result of your turn in will be you will fill on that lah, and just cut and paste. Citation meaning that you recognize and you cite. From where you get this one, who the author, that kind of thing, right? And also must reflect in the reference. What in your citation, in your text must be there in the reference. I think there is basics now. Basic. For technical writing, there is a basics. For BBA, technical writing is a must. You have to take that subject. I'm not sure whether all of you ada some few of you dah ambil dah. Taking, if you are some thing, I'm quite sure you already have done, have taken that subject on technical writing. Okay. Alright, so I will stop this one. Kita akan sambung dengan we will discuss on our chapter 6. Oh. Okay, sorry guys, the technical error skit. Let me see. Okay guys, boleh nampak tak? Can you see the chapter 6? Boleh nampak slide? Can you see the slide?
Boleh, sir.
Boleh nampak tak?
Boleh.
Okay, alright. Good. Alright, okay, kita continue, right? As I said, kita done with chapters 5 and today we get to discuss on chapter 6. Chapter 6 is very much talking about the ethical issue on customer, production and marketing, right? So, of course, there are quite few concepts here apply on this issue. For example, customer, what is our main issue, right? Okay, what our main issue is the first one is of course dangerous and risky products. We will discuss in length about dangerous and risky products. Volume is clear, can you hear me clearly?
Clear, sir.
Clear, All right, good. All right. The second one, deceptive selling practices. Deceptive, everybody know is, for example, cheating, that kind of thing, something deceptive selling practices. Usually kita banyak right now, especially now, and when people dealing, what we call the nature of kita punya exchange now through online, e-commerce, that kind of thing. So that we have a lot of issue on this kind of what we call cheating, deceptive, right? Issue, especially as I said now on online punya practices. Poorly constructed product, of course, very much on the quality, talking about the quality of the product. Failure to honor warranties. Okay, this one kita dah discuss the last time we talk about contractual right? The problem of the sellers, the makers, right? To honor the agreement that we have. When we talk about contract, definitely, or warranty, definitely talking about contract, right? The agreement that we have between both parties, between the seller or makers and us as a customer. And the last one, deceptive and unpleasant advertising. This one, the last part, marketing part, we have discussed very much on the issue of this issue, deceptive and unpleasant advertising on advertisement, especially on advertisement. So this is the main issue, right? That relate to us, right? Very close to us as a customer. Safety is a commodity that should not be mandated by the government. Right? As the first thing is the issue of safety of the product, the risk and safety of the product. So we recognize that, right? In a perfectly competitive market, right, or in free market, there shouldn't be any intervention, right? Intervention from third parties, especially here when thought of third party is the government, right? So the safety issue of the between what we call it safety a community. This community shouldn't be mandated, meaning that not interference from the third party, especially the government. Okay, so it depends on definitely if not the government that decide on the safety, meaning that the market will decide, right? So the safety committee should be decided by the market. It's not by the other party, right? So the real meaning of competitive market or free market should be applied here, right? Should be applied here. But we know in the reality it doesn't work that way, right? We recognize that and a lot of intervention from government, especially on the safety features. And kita cakap tentang issue of safety, for example, motorbike, safety of cars, right? There are a lot of what we call the interventions of governments, right? On the issue of safety of the car itself, right? That's why we have it's mandated for the makers of the car or the producer of the car or automobiles. They have to come up with for safety measures. Yang must is a policy is must mandated is safety belt. Right? Safety belt is mandated. It's a must. The car, when they sell the car, it have to come together with the safety belts. Last time it started with only two safety belt for the driver and the passenger, in front passenger. But now they come out in another features of safety belt. So at the rear also is a mandated. That is a must. So when they sell the car, the seat belt must be the front and of course at the back. So the mandated, right? Kalau betul-betul kan in market punya concept, the concept of market approach, right? Meaning that it's up to the market to decide whether we need a seat belt, we need an airbag, or that kind of thing. So what I understand here in Malaysia, kita belum lagi ada satu undang-undang. We don't still have a law of mandated the airbags. Cuma kita mandated only on the what we call a seat belt. There's the rule. There's a policy. Okay. Safety should still be provided through the market. Ini yang sepatutnya should be applied if we want to follow the market approach. Okay. So market approach should be applied only by the market, by the demand. And in the market, seller will provide safety is consumer demanded. So as I said, by the demand. We determine, we the customer, and the buyer will determine what kind of safety that we want. Kita ambil contoh kereta lah, because very easy, because we're talking about vehicles, whether it's motorbike or cars, right? A lot of safety features be mandated by the government, not by the market. Okay, kalau kita, that's why not just to what we call to meet that kinds of what we call constraints of mandated by the markets, right? So that we have a choice or the option. So the makers right now come out with so many version series lah. Kalau for example a Proton car or Mybi, model of Mybi, right? Mybi, when they come out with one model of Mybi, they come out with so many series of Mybi, and so mostly they will start with a plain what we call basic model. They call it basic model. So maybe G series or what series, a basic, meaning that what we have a safety feature on that car only the seat belt. That again is not mandated by, it's not because of market. This is because of the mandated by the government. So they come with that safety features only the seat belt. That is what we call so they call it series of whatever name of the series is just a basic car. Then the rest is the same, right? Then they come with the other series, G, S, something like that, right? Then that is the one. Okay, they add a few other features on safety, maybe the airbag, right? 2 airbag, maybe. The next model, they have what? They have 2 airbag. Front passengers, driver and front passengers. Then the next model, on talking about safety features of airbag, additional of safety features and safety features. So ada lagi 4 airbags and that kind of thing. On each model, all series are the additional costs that you have to pay. Right? You want airbags? Okay, there's 2 airbags. This much you have to pay. You may have another series which that provide 4 airbags. This much the customer have to pay. So it's this thing, right? So it doesn't actually subscribe to the understanding of what so-called approach of market. As we said, as you know, sekarang because the producer know that for us we want a choice. We want a choice. We want the alternative that we have and on to buy that product. So they come up with that kind of options lah, come up with the option or varieties of the models. Only then we can say there is a market punya approach lah, But talking about the safety on features is as I said, it's still mandated by the government, not 100% on what we call the market. We can say that not 100% on market approach. But if market approach, meaning that no intervention, it's up to us. We want zero safety belt, no safety belt. They will produce the car with no safety belt. But sekarang ni kita ada lah basic kena ada, because just follow the what we call the rules that were determined by the government, right? In the market, the price of safety and among sellers provide will determine, okay, by the cost of providing it and value customer place on it. Okay, as I said, you're willing to pay more because of certain features, that your additional features of the car, you pay more, right? So you pay more. So that cost you have to pay for that cost. So in market, that at least that is what we call a market approach. Puja dia lah, kan? There is market approach. We can apply to this. We subscribe to that market approach, but we have to bear on that what we call the additional cost that you want. Okay. Government intervention in customer market made them unfair, inefficient, and coercive. Right? Yes, that's true, right? It's unfair to us. For example, you want to buy a car, small car, like Kancil, like Mybi, or small car, compact car. The reason you want is just what we call basic car. You want to buy a basic car because the purpose of buying that car is only you are only try to go travels, maybe 10 kilometer radius. You want to just go to the town, that kind of thing, and send your kids, that kind of thing. So they're not a purpose. So what you expect? You don't need all those safety features. You don't need the airbag, that kind of thing, because you travel only about not more than 10 kilometers. So it's unfair for us. For example, right now, what we're having right now, that you are forced to buy a car that at least ada seatbelt. Additional seatbelt today is not free, The producer charge us that seatbelt. We don't get it free. So, as I said, maybe if it's not mandated by the government, we don't need that safety belt. What more on your bags, right? Because for the purpose of having that car is just for the small, short distance in your rides. So these are the things that it's unfair to us when the government get involved on this thing. Inefficient talking about cost, right? It will cost us more to pay for the product. And coercive, it comes from in the form of paksa. Coercive paksa, not force us to buy things that we might not want that, right? Macam sekarang lah, we have to buy car that already customized. The what we call the safety features tadi, seat belt, and already there. Then you have to pay for that. So you are forced to do that. Okay. So this is what in market approach, right? Yang kita patutnya, this is the thing that we should have, right? What more? The first thing, the characteristics of market approach, no intervention of the government. But in the reality, we cannot find this mana-mana in this world, right? Even in America, right? All be mandated. Right? There are certain things, and the interventions of the government is there. What more, especially kalau kita tengok di Amerika pun sama, right? They when talking about it on the safety issue, the safety issue. So these are the things that you have to take notes, right? On this market approach, meaning that it's not 100%, right? In place in the nations, right? When talking about market approach, meaning that it's not purely 100% on market approach. Kita ada juga, tetapi some kind of constraints when there are interventions of so-called government punya interventions lah. Okay, the problem with the market approach, as I said just now, kita dah discuss now, assumes that market are perfectly competitive. what we have, even though we call it free market, but it's not really perfectly competitive market. We can say it's competitive market, but it's not perfectly. Why? Because the model that we have in perfectly competitive market, meaning that there are many firms, meaning we don't have this. It's supposed not to have this what we call monopoly models. You're not supposed to have oligopolies models, but in reality we have this model, right, in our market. So the real market, when we talk about perfectly competitive market, meaning that this the other model shouldn't be there. For example, monopoly model shouldn't be there in the market. The oligopoly shouldn't be there in the market. But in reality, we can see all these models. And in fact, they are very active. In fact, they are very dominant. And not only they are quite dominant. So they have the power to influence the market. Okay, buyers do not have adequate. Okay, assume market are perfectly competitive, which are not, because buyer do not have adequate information. And in perfectly competitive market, right? Usually we should have enough information. Should have enough what we call knowledge on that particular product or things, right, that you want to buy. But in reality, no. Right? We as a buyer, especially on big item that you want to buy, for example, you want to buy a car, you have not much knowledge, the ability to know exactly what is actually about the engine, that kind of thing, the running of the car. So you don't have much knowledge on that. So very much we depend very much to the producer, depend very much to the sellers, right, on that information. Buyers are often not rational. The second one said buyers are not rational about product risk or probabilities and are often inconsistent. Because our lack of knowledge about this sometimes it influences us on when we make decision we are not really rational, right? For example, as I said, it's irrational to buy a car, just a compact car, just a basic car, right? When you have only the safety features on just depend on the seatbelts. Looking on the rates of kita punya accident in Malaysia, we are number 10 in the world, right? Where is safety is driving. Traffic is not safe, right? Dealing with traffic, dealing with driving, all that kind of thing is not safe. So we are top 10 on the issue of safety on the road. So this is when we have this kind of data, this kind of information, sometimes kita punya tadi lah, we are not rational pula. When you want to buy cars, for example, right? You go for only as a basic, even though you have the reason why I say maybe short distance, that kind of thing, but still, right? Because the data show that it's not safe enough, even for a short driving, short distance of driving. So kita tak rational. Same thing when you go for the motorbike, right? On a motorbike. Kemarin baru keluar, yesterday came out from newspaper the issue of when you carry your kids, your brothers, or those family carry your kids, carry to school, you pakai helmet and your kids tak pakai helmets. So you are not rational. You are not rational. We are Malaysian. We are lack of that on that ideas of rationalities on the issue of safety, especially. Many consumer market are monopolies and oligopolies. As I said, we are not only have one models. We have so many models, and these monopolies and oligopolies, they are as we all know, they are powerful. They can influence the market. Okay, they can influence the market, meaning that they can decide. It is not us kita yang decide on the market. Kalau market punya approach, this supposed to be the market decide that. But because of having these models, these businesses in this form, in the model, then and as they are also powerful, and of course at least this it violates the meaning, the real meaning of market approach. It violates the real meaning of market approach. So now you go to the second approach, contract approach, okay, or contract view or contract theory. Okay. Contract view say that the view that the relationship between business firm and customer is essentially a contractual relationship. So ini kita dah discuss, we discussed last time on the contractual right? We already discussed. Actually, in the form, when talking about contract, actually in the form of relationships between both parties, even in the form of oral agreements, right? That also there is a relationship is already there. When deal with the buyer or the sellers, they already have, we have already automatically there are relationship on that, right? And the firm moral duties to the customer are those created by these contractual relationships. So the duties of the firm or the seller or the makers to customer, because when we say about contract, it already automatically relationships punya contact, contact of relationships. You cannot run on that, okay? And we know contractual meaning that agreement, agreement between two parties. All right. So we look into here. What is usually when you talk about contractual or and seller? So these are the features usually, the things that usually apply when we have these contracts. And when we have that, when we buy products, right? When they have warranty, for example, we have a warranty. So actually it's telling us about this. The warranty will telling us about this. What more if a big items, right? If you buy the car, so you have to cover all this thing. The reliability of the car, right? That will be there in that agreement, in that contract, whether it's reliable or not, right? The service life of the car, okay. The maintainability of the car, right? So that's why we have, when you buy the car, so we have the agreement with the sellers, and that okay, if 5 years punya warranty, and that service will be free. You only have to pay for the parts. But there's some agreement when you, especially when you buy a big car, expensive car, they come out with a package that they even pay for that product, for the spare part. They're the agreement that between us and the makers. So this is what we call that contract, the contract, that the agreement that we have between. So duty of disclosure. So dalam, if you look into each warranty card yang kita ada, and that we receive when you buy product, right? In that card will tell you everything, right? They disclose everything, what it been covered, and apa yang, for example, that's why they kata ada disclaimer, for example. So they will tell in detail what the disclaimer is all about. Duty not to mispresent, meaning don't cheat. You cannot cheat in a contract. When you cheat, is meaning that the contract is not binding, meaning that is illegal. Tak boleh pakai. You cannot, you cannot accept that because ada misrepresentations. It's not bind. So the contract is not bind because ada unsur-unsur penipuan. Duty not to coerce. In agreement, you cannot. Coaching meaning paksa lah, pressure. You put some pressure on that agreement. So this characteristic, actually, when we have the contract, it must be there. Must be there. That's why you look into the agreement dalam warranty. You can see all these things. For example, in warranty, okay, we cannot accept, you cannot responsible if, for example, you buy your handphone, right? You get that warranty card, right? That warranty card, and that dalam warranty card already come out with a clause. Each of that other clause there, the disclaimer of that. For example, your something wrong with your handphone because of because of maybe you fall, the result of it, your what we call negligence of you, and or it's you have problem with the you drop that in so it's not waterproof. It tell you every clear, right? So all these things, must be, in your warranty, you can see they have all of this, right? So we call it disclaimer lah, man. All right, you can see the problem here with the contract theory. The first thing they say, they assume makers of product deal directly with the customer, but they do not. Yes, it's true, right? Kita don't directly with the makers, right? You don't really, when you buy a car, for example, Proton, you don't deal directly for the manufacturer of the car or the Proton car. You only deal directly with the dealers. And kalau small thing maybe with the retailers. So you are not really directly to the makers, to the producer. Manufacturer advertisement do form a kind of direct promise to customer. The only thing that we can rely is between us and the producer, because when come up with the advertisement, actually it's not a dealer that advertise, it's the maker who advertise. So there is some kind of agreement, some kind of contract already there, and so that maybe we can some say we can have some what the word to use, ada links lagi. We still ada contract, ada contract on that. And what the advertisement telling us, there is that we depend on that, the advertisement between us and the manufacturer. Otherwise, we don't have very much on that link between the manufacturer and we as a customer. Only the advertisement at least give us some kind of link between us and the producer or the makers, because as you know, most advertisement come from the makers, producer, not from the dealers, not from the retailers. So at least advertisement is important because that it ada skip, ada contract, ada link, the contract between us and the producer. Sellers can remove all their duties to buyers by getting them to agree to the disclaimer of responsibility, right? That's it. Whatever thing you buy, when we receive that, when they have the warranty, if you read really truly with that warranty, they have, you can see the disclaimer in that warranty. And never miss of that. Never miss of warranty without disclaimer. They must have some kind of disclaimer. As I said, I mentioned just now, right? Example, you buy handphone, there's a disclaimer. They are not responsible for the damage if you drop and your handphone, you drop negligent of you, and because of fault, because you drop the handphone on the water, be able to go through to your handphone, that kind of thing. So this is what we call disclaimer. Macam kita parking retail lah, you go to the private parking, even in public space pun, right? That you have to pay, right, for the parking. So first thing that come up is the disclaimer. Okay, they are not responsible when you you have to pay for that, right? 1 hour, 3 ringgit, 5 ringgit for 1 hour you park in the place. But quickly they come out, the what we call the operator quickly come up with the disclaimer. Okay, we are not responsible for the any damage to your car, stealing, that kind of thing, and the item loss from your car. So they come already with the disclaimer. So it became an issue last time, right? I don't know whether it's solved or not. The issue, people start question on this operator on the parking. Why the council give them that kind of clause? They be able to come up with that clause, that they come up with the disclaimer clause. So we pay them, they should take care of our car, for example, right? You cannot simply come with the disclaimer. Something wrong with our car, something damage of the cars, stolen from our car, we cannot claim anything. So this is the thing that we have to look into the what we call contractual issue. Assume customer and seller meet as equal, but they are not, as seller are more knowledge, so have more knowledge, and so customer must rely on seller. Right? Just kata lah, kalau even handphone, I'm not very knowledge me about handphone. I'm not lack of knowledge about handphone, the features or that kind of thing. So very much, I rely very much on the sellers, right, or retailers. The same thing, what more on big item like car, house, you want to buy the house, you don't very much know about technical about the car, especially eh, how the engine run, that kind of thing. So very much of this information you have to depend on the sellers or on the sellers. So this is the things. So whatever been telling us is we only have to accept that, right? So kita tak ada something that we can look into because of short of knowledge, the ability of us and to counter of what been agreed upon. Kita rely very much on them. Whatever they tell us, okay, we agree. So because of that lack of knowledge and information. Okay, then we go to the third one. Just now we already discussed on the market approach. Then second one we just done on the contractual approach or theory. Now is the third approach. As a customer, the view that because manufacturers are more advantage position than customer customer must rely on them. They have a duty here to take special care to ensure that customers' interests are not harmed by the product that they offer them. So if we are talking about this due care theory, we know caring, meaning that we hope manufacturer, seller care very much, right? Apply the concept of caring to the customer. So this only can be applied, right? Take care of customer. Take care of what I mean for example especially on the safety features of the product, right? If they care us, they will make sure that the product is safe enough with minimum risk, that kind of thing. The information that they give us is full of information. They will mislead us. They won't force us, that kind of thing. All this step we've taken, then we can say is the producer really care about us, care about the customer, right? So caring is important because from here, right, that we can expect when we buy things, it gives us a lot of some guarantee on that. The guarantee is that because we know they are care, they take care of us, right? For example, you can take, okay, take care of the product that, product that might be, risk is high enough especially for the kids, right? So they have a product, when they come up with a product, they already take care of the issue of if the kids will use that product. So this is caring, knowing the possibility of mishandles by the children, that kind of thing. So meaning that is what called caring. Okay, dalam issue of caring, they will go all this process, taking of this, the process of coming up with a product. It started dalam masa design again. In designing the product, they already take care of that, right? Make sure that the design is first is so risk is minimized. Research the risk in the condition of use, and they made all an efforts, and they made a study of the product before they produce the product. Okay, for example, they want to produce toys, and they will sell the toys, right? Manufacturer of the toys, they have done all those steps, right? In the designing of the product itself, must start again. Starters in the stage of design, and they already made studies on that. just to make sure that the product they're going to, the toys they will sell is if they have a risk, a minimum risk. Take capacity user into account. Capacity here, just mentioned just now. Age of the user, for example, age of the user, or the customer age of the so they take all those into account. In production, right? In the stage of production, use strict quality control to eliminate defect, right? So they use all steps, all measures, they take all action to make sure that during the production process that the outcome of that is, will not, is a perfect product. There will be no defects, that kind of thing. Ensure that material and manufacturer do not add defect or risk. Make sure that material used, the source that used to produce the product is in top condition. And so all these things. And so as I said, it start even at the first stage in designing itself. Then they go to the next stage in production process of production. Step will be taken. Right? Make sure that in this process, everything is in order, everything in the tops. No defect, right? Material use, the quality of material use, all in the quality of the materials, all in order, or in a good condition. In marketing, provide user with information about the product safely. One of all dangers. Do not market to those unable to avoid risk, right? For example, you want to sell electricity goods, right? Electrical appliances. Make sure that the children would buy. Yeah, you won't sell to the kids. Okay, that's why we have cigarette. They cannot sell those under 18 years old, right? Because of this, right? Because they care. They know that the risk of smoking to the children. Actually, it's applied to everybody, but at least they have some measures to make sure that the kid won't smoke and the kids won't drink. So the kids don't simply be able to use all those apparatus equipment that in a sense of high risk. So all these steps, kalau you betul-betul you really take care of the customer, you will really make sure that all these stages, all these steps are taken care. They really care. This is what we call the due care theory. Even start, as I said just now, even in design and stage, they already take all the efforts and all the step, all the effort to make sure when they design the thing, start from the studies, they make the studies and everything have been done to make sure that the product is safe enough, good enough, right? Before they go to the next stage, which is processing, production, and even to the last part on marketing the product, and kind of advertisement, for example, right? So all these things, this is what we call, what it really mean of caring. The theory of caring to the customer. Okay, kita berhenti di sini, right? Saya akan sambung dengan no, kita habis dulu slide 11 before we go to the next what we call next concept, next approach, we call it social cost view. Kita habiskan dulu on the due care punya concepts. So the problem with due care theory is it does not limit what producer must spend to eliminate risk. Does not limit what producer must spend. Meaning that the burden so much to the producer, to the makers, because we don't put a limit on that. And for those who take care, the producer will really take care. They shouldn't, meaning there shouldn't be any cost, any limit of cost. And the idea is to meet the product that is the best product, and in a sense of risk, that kind of thing. So how much they spend, kita tak nak limits lah. So if we put some kind of burdens, the responsibility about the burden so much to the producer if they really apply this concept. Second, it does not indicate who should pay for the product injury that cannot be foreseen. who going to pay for the injury? Here it's not very clear. If we've taken all those steps, right? Kita daripada start from design until marketing, that's all the steps to make sure that the product tadi in good order, in the best their duties. But on this part, it's not clear who going to pay for that injury. Kalau ada lagi injury happen, right? Step will be taken, measure will be taken, but still yet, when you sell the thing, in this concept, if you sell the thing, then maybe there's some risk, some unforeseen risk that you see, you cannot see, and it caused the injury. Who going to pay for the injury? Ini the question. It don't what we call it don't describe clearly who actually going to pay for that, even after all taking all those action. Put manufacturer in paternalistic position, right? When said paternalistic, meaning that put them as, as a parents. They are the one determine kita punya the kind of quality of the product, the kind of the safety, of deciding how much is best for the customer. So they are the one who determine. So kita have not much say on this. So because in this concept, very much carry is fall under the to the manufacturer. So we assume that they are like paternalistic, paternalistic meaning acts as our parent or determines whether how safe is the product is. And so kita not much on kita punya parts lah on to determine. So the short the problem the shortcoming of this concept on the what we call due care curing concept. Okay, we're done with this. Okay, just remind me kita akan continue with the last approach, which we call it social cost view or theory for this what we call on safety, that kind of thing. So ini kita akan discuss this coming Thursday, insyaAllah. So kita tak ada apa, kita stop di sini. Again, for those, saya akan buka, I will open back all those attendance for those who are not yet. Scan your attendance, you can do now. Okay, I still open. For those other questions, you can ask. I'm still here now. Yes. Saya dengar suara belakang tapi tak tahu apa dia kata. Alright. Kalau tak ada apa, kita jumpa lagi next Monday, next Thursday, right?
Okay, thank you, Doktor.
Okay.
Doktor,
see
saya
you
nak
then.
admin hall.
Syafina, apa dia?
Saya nak admin hall. Attendance.
Ya.